In Judge Lauren Lake's courtroom, the truth isn't just revealed, it's tested. Every day, people come here carrying their version of what happened. But today's case stood out. A young woman, Miss Richardson, entered the courtroom determined to prove that the man she once trusted was indeed the father of her child. Across from her sat Mr. Smith, calm, confident, and absolutely certain he wasn't the father. What followed was a measured, methodical search for the truth. Miss Richardson and Mr. Smith met 3 years earlier. Their relationship began with warmth and connection, but ended with silence and distance. By the time Miss Richardson discovered she was pregnant, Mr. Smith had already moved on. When she reached out to tell him the news, he denied any involvement. He insisted that the timing didn't match and that she must be mistaken. For months, she raised her child alone until she decided to bring the matter to paternity court. Judge Lauren Lake began by outlining the issue clearly. Miss Richardson claimed Mr. Smith was the biological father of her daughter, while he denied any connection. As the hearing began, the atmosphere was firm but fair. Judge Lake is known for her composure. Her courtroom isn't a place for chaos, but for clarity. She reminded both parties that today wasn't about emotion or accusation, but evidence and truth. Mr. Smith told the court that he had doubts from the start. He stated that Miss Richardson had been involved with someone else at the same time, and that he couldn't possibly be the father. He spoke confidently, almost rehearsed. But Judge Lake listened closely. She's seen this pattern before, firm denials that begin to weaken under the weight of facts. She asked a simple question. Mr. Smith, if you were so certain you weren't the father, why did you remain in contact during her pregnancy? He hesitated. And in that moment, the tone of the courtroom shifted. Miss Richardson's testimony was straightforward. She explained that during her pregnancy, Mr. Smith occasionally checked on her, sometimes even visited. To her, that was more than a coincidence. She described how she tried to include him, how she sent photos of their child, and how each message went unanswered. When Judge Lake asked what she wanted most from the court, she said, "Not revenge, just clarity, for my daughter to know where she comes from." It was a quiet but powerful statement. What makes Judge Lauren Lake unique is her balance of empathy and authority. She doesn't raise her voice unnecessarily. She leads with precision. She reminded Mr. Smith that this process wasn't about blame, it was about accountability. Children deserve to know the truth about their identity, she said, and as adults, we owe them honesty. The courtroom grew silent, even Mr. Smith. Smith looked uneasy, perhaps realizing that denial wouldn't make reality disappear. Finally, the moment came for the DNA results. Judge Lake received the envelope, read the statement, and looked directly at Mr. Smith. "In the case of Richardson versus Smith," she began, "when it comes to 8-month-old Kanani." A pause. "Mr. Smith, you are the father." The words landed with weight. There was no shouting, no chaos, just a long silence. Mr. Smith lowered his head. Miss Richardson exhaled, visibly relieved. Judge Lake spoke clearly. "Now that we have the truth, the next step is responsibility." She emphasized that parenthood is not just biological, it's emotional, financial, and moral. Mr. Smith nodded slowly, his earlier confidence replaced with quiet understanding. He turned to Miss Richardson and said only, "I'll do what I need to do." It wasn't dramatic, but it was sincere. And for the first time, Both parties seemed ready to move forward. Cases like this remind us why Lauren Lake's courtroom resonates with so many people. It's not about scandal or spectacle. It's about real people, real consequences, and real change. The truth may not always be easy to hear, but in this courtroom, it always matters. Because for every child waiting to know who their parent is, the truth is more than a verdict. It's the start of understanding who they are.